episode of Making It Work, we're going to be making some sourdough waffles. It's one of our favorite things to eat, of course, waffles. And who doesn't like a good waffle? We're going to have our waffles for supper. It's going to be breakfast for supper. So I fed the sourdough last night because we always start with a fed sourdough. And right now I'm just going to be making like the sponge or just, kind of the main part, and I'll add the other parts later on after this has fermented for a while. So I'm going to start with 2 cups of unbleached flour. Just regular old all-purpose unbleached flour. And 2 tablespoons of sugar. This is pure cane, kind of unprocessed. That's why it's on the brownish side. It's not actually brown sugar, it's just regular sugar. And then the recipe calls for 2 cups of buttermilk, and I didn't have buttermilk, so I'm actually using, this is a cup of plain whole milk yogurt and a cup of whole milk. So I just kind of mixed those 2 together and dump that in there. Buttermilk is just milk that has some type of like the acidophilus in it. So yogurt or sour cream, you can add that to regular milk to make it buttermilk. And then this is my starter. I fed it last night. It's been doing its thing overnight. It's kind of frothy, so it tells me that everything is active with it. It's alive and active. It always amazes me. It's just flour and water and all those other little things that make it work. I'm making it work. Alright, I'm going to add a cup of that. Luscious starter. So then for right now, all I'm going to do is stir this up, cover it with plastic, and let it sit. While it sits, it just ferments and does its thing. Changes that gluten in that flour. So step 1 was actually feeding the starter last night, and then this is sort of step 2, where we mix this all together, making the sponge, and then it ferments all day. So that was 2 cups of flour, unbleached, all-purpose, 2 cups of buttermilk, but in this case I used a cup of whole milk plain yogurt and a cup of whole milk, 2 tablespoons of sugar, and a cup of sourdough starter. So this is a pretty thick dough right now. We have made these before and we love them. So yeah, it's a fairly thick dough. Now, just cover it with plastic and let it sit out on the counter all day. Okay, here we are about ready to make breakfast for supper, one of our favorites around here. So this waffle sponge, so to speak, has been sitting all day and fermenting, doing its, ooh, you have got to try to see this. It's bubbling and like the bubbles are bursting. Let's see here. And so cool. I think it's cool. I get excited about sourdough, all things sourdough. Alright, so to this, we are going to add 3/4 of a teaspoon of salt. Oop, let's get all of that. And a teaspoon of baking soda. Oh wow, it's talking to me. This is and 1/4 of a teaspoon of melted butter. You can use other oil of your choice if you want, just like coconut oil, olive oil, canola oil. And we are going to stir this up. Ooh, I wish this was smell-o-vision. Alright, this does make a lot of waffles. It's a good sized batter here. And so I'll just be getting out my waffle iron, spray it a little bit, and pour on, I don't know, it just depends on what your waffle iron size is, but that is the finished waffle batter. It's a little bit on the stringy side. That's just because it's sourdough, and that is perfectly normal. Okay, to these waffles, or this waffle mix, need 2 eggs too. Alright, stir those up good, kind of beat them a little bit. Mix them in. The lighter and fluffier this stuff is, the better the waffles. So to that sponge, that original sponge that I made, I added 3/4 of a teaspoon of salt, a teaspoon of baking soda, 1/4 cup of melted butter, which you can use other oils of your choice, and 2 eggs. And that is how you make sourdough waffles. Thanks for watching Making It Work.